Hi, it's David Taylor, or Mr Pelargonium as people like to call me, back with another video blog for the Pelargonium and Geranium Society. Plenty of news to get through today, so we'll get straight into it. Okay, so the first thing, of course, I need to mention, you may have seen an advertisement on my Mr Pelargonium Twitter and Instagram feeds last week, is that we decided to cancel the annual show in conjunction with Fibrex Nursery, who, of course, undertake their gardeners gathering on the same day as our show. That has unfortunately all now been cancelled. The main reason is, of course, is that we've got the COVID-19 outbreak. Social distancing is here to stay for some time, I think, so we really do need to be very careful, and it would just really be impossible to maintain any kind of social distancing at a really heavily attended event such as the show. It will mean, of course, because all the timing of our plants has been made for that middle June period, it will mean that there will not be a National Pelargonium show this year. Many of the other shows have also been cancelled June, that are held in June, and I think I'm only aware of maybe one still going ahead. But we'll wait to hear on that one. We do intend to liaise with Fibrex to hold an event maybe in the late summer, around about August, early September time. Don't know a date yet. We just obviously got to see how the situation develops with regard to easing of the lockdown. So we'll have to wait and see. But we're hopeful of getting an event going in the latter part of summer. Now, in the meantime, we are maybe hopeful of doing some kind of virtual show. We're at the very early stages of trying to organise that. We don't know whether we'll perhaps get members to just do a little online video of their plants. We're waiting to sort of see how that plan develops. Obviously, for me, it's a little bit different, but I can show all my plants, obviously, through to you on the channel. But it would be nice for others to get involved, perhaps just do a little video or indeed just photographs to see the plants as they look in their greenhouses during June. In the meantime, the weather has continued to be very warm. I'm filming this on Monday, the 27th of April, and April has continued to be very warm and sunny. It's really amazing, really, to think that we had such a wet winter, such a wet autumn. The two together, about 6 months worth of non-stop rain. April has been one of the driest Aprils on record. Really bizarre sorts of weather we're having, but it has really brought the plants on. We'll have a little glimpse round in a moment of my plants, but they've all grown on. Some are beginning to bud up. Of course, one of the beauties of not having an official show, if you like, in June, is that I can just let my plants run now. I would normally perhaps be disbudding. I mean, for instance, just this plant here, it's a basic zonal, but it's got a bloom. I would almost certainly normally take that off, but I'm going to let that go this year because there's a complete freedom of how the plants are growing. And I'm sure I might have one or two that look half decent in June if we do have some kind of virtual show. Now, one thing that I have done, I've potted up quite a number of my plants that are intended for use in the garden. I've done a basket. I did a scented leaf basket from Fibrex Nursery, and I'm just going to overlay a little video now while I speak about it. This is a basket that I potted up. You can clearly see here I made just a nice sort of open compost. It's just ordinary compost mixed with a little bit of John Innes. I do like the plants that are outside during the summer. I just mix a bit of a loam-based compost together with an ordinary sort of compost, whether it be peat-based or ordinary coir-based type composts that you get these days. Mix them up, a little bit of drainage material, probably about 10 to 15% drainage material, mixed together, and I use this in my tubs and baskets that I pot plants into. Now these Ivy Leaves were a special collection, as I say, provided by Fibrex Nursery, and these were potted up. I just done one in each sort of corner really, one in a sort of quarterly format, with a nice scented of Lara Starshine in the middle, and that will really fill that basket out. So that's a good basket, and that'll look pretty nice in the summer when it's grown on. I mean, it is quite young at the moment. I've got it outside. The weather is meant to be turning much cooler this week, so if it does turn very cool and wet, I will bring it in the greenhouse just so that it doesn't get over wet, because I don't want these young plants to get waterlogged. So I will ensure that it gets brought in if the weather does turn a bit cooler. Now, another thing that I've done is I have just tied up this standard. I'm going to overlay another video now of tying in, but what I've done is basically pull this over. There was a lot of growth over to the one side of the stick, and I've pulled that up by tying this sort of main stem, pull it back up towards the stick. Relatively straightforward to do. I've got a video overlay of that happening now. Basically what I've done, just put a bit of string around the main stem that's growing up out sort of to the other side, and it just needed pulling back in to sort of straighten it up a bit, because all the growth was happening on one side. So by doing that, and I already actually had a piece of string that was attempting to pull it through. Obviously it's grown a bit bigger now, so I've been able to pull this through much more than it was previously, and that sort of straightened it up. Now it still needs, as you can see here, still needs a bit of growth to come out this side, but I'm confident that it's going to do that in the next year. Now it is beginning to throw some bloom, this plant, so I'm going to let that go now. I've got no issues with that whatsoever, particularly this year that we're not too bothered about the way that the plants are flowering. Right, so just having a little look round, you can clearly see here I have got lots and lots of bloom on some of these young plants. These were newly potted up, these are Mrs. May last, but as I say, I am just literally going to let them grow. I'm not too bothered at all about the fact that they're going to flower. I can enjoy my plants this year, a little bit less stress for me as well. Now this Shrivenham Star, this one here is throwing lots of bud, and I'm quite surprised because all my other stock dwarfs are actually not throwing any bud at all. But for some reason, Shrivenham Star, which may have been stopped just marginally earlier than some of the others, but certainly no more than a week, that's gone crazy. That's throwing a lot of bud, but again, I am not at all concerned. The variegated form of Mr Wren, we have now got some proper blooms on that, which is good to see. That's doing quite well. And Gosbrook Susanna, always one of the really nice reds, I'm pleased to say. It always grows well. That's a Floribunda version, but again, throwing some bloom, but I'm not concerned this year at all by that. Again, this is a basic zonal, point south. Normally, these blooms I would take out, but this year I'm not bothering. This variegated Mr Wren is the sort of mother plant of them all. He's got some younger stems growing up at the base, so they will just eventually be tied in. I've actually tied that lower one in just to pull it towards the back, which is what I want it to do. So I'm just training that to fill up this gap in the middle, because these taller stems, which are filling the top of the trellis little part there, is going to be really good. Now down this end, Regal City, they're huge, they're big, not too much bloom coming on them though at the moment, so that's good to see in some ways, because these will be really well timed, I think, just beginning to show a hint of bloom right at the base, but they'll be well timed for the June show, which now isn't, of course, going ahead. Okay, so that's a little look round today. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet video with a couple of bits just showing you what I've done sort of to date. I've potted up another couple of plants underneath as well, much in the same way that I did that basket. So it's always good to sort of keep your plants developing, but it just goes to show we've got some cooler weather coming this week, so it's very, very important to keep an eye on the weather, because we can still have some cool periods. So very important that you keep an eye out, but in the meantime, I hope to see you again very soon, and goodbye for now. Please subscribe to this channel, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. You can follow Mr Pelargonium on both Twitter and Instagram under Mr Pelargonium, and you can follow the Pelargonium and Geranium Society on Facebook, or you can visit the PAGS website at thepags.org.uk.